Life stories wild like a late night dream. We're spilling the tea and it's hot like steam. Bruddc and Kitty, we're here to play. Life and gossip every single day. Laugh a little louder, who needs control? It's the Bruddc and Kitty show. From trending news to the tales untold. Spinning the wheel, let the stories unfold.
Good afternoon, good people. You're watching the Bruddc and Kitty show. Kitty, how are we doing on this fabulous Friday?
Fabulous Friday, Black Eye Friday. Did you know that's Black Eye Friday? Do you know why
Black
it's called Black
Eye Friday? Nope, tell me.
It's the Friday before Christmas, and everybody allegedly goes out on their works do, and big scraps happen, and somebody always goes home with a black eye.
Is that a Nottingham thing?
That's a Nottingham thing. I have had so many messages today going, "Happy Black Eye Friday," and I'm like, we really shouldn't be celebrating this, but okay. Also, I'd like to know from everybody that is watching, who would like to see us do a video for that intro? Would you like to join us, maybe? So there you go.
A music video, yeah, so we can check it out with it.
Yeah, because it is good. And maybe, you know how you've got that software, maybe we could like record our voices and maybe sing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm quite a what's the word? I'm quite a what's the word? I'm a passionate singer anyway. I'm not very good at singing, but I'm quite a passionate singer anyway, to be honest with you. Kitty, what's going on this week? Yep.
This will surprise nobody, but I had lessons.
Oh, really?
I had singing lessons because I was fat. So I couldn't do anything else. So that's what my parents pushed me into.
Wow. Go on then, give us a note then. You got to give us something.
No. I will save it and I will record something just for you. There you go.
Oh man. Kitty, we've had a
teaser.
Teaser. Yeah, we've had an interesting week. You know, we had the Bondi shooting. There was a shooting in America. You know, Trump's bombing pretty much everyone. So much social media today. You know, one thing. Let's go to TikTok straight away. Let's go to this sort of news. And a big trend on TikTok at the minute is girls are meeting these bigger creators and getting themselves into a lot of trouble. And these TikTok creators, you don't know how much is true when you hear things. You see people, they look like nice people, but then you hear girls say that, no, they take your money, they're into drugs, they're into this, they're into that. You know, it's it's hard to take at face value sometimes. It is really hard, and you don't really want to. I wouldn't want someone doing it to me, and I know how easy it could be done. Like, you fall out with people all the time, and boom, you're a bad person. And we've had it. We've had it, both of us. Yeah,
we both of us have had experiences. I think the biggest example is always going to be Mr. Diddy himself, isn't it? The diddler. It goes to the head. And this is somebody said there's over 7 or 8 billion people on this app, possibly more. Now you think about it, if you're TikTok famous, you're reaching sort of 7 to 8 billion people.
And maybe.
Yeah, but it can go to your head. The power can go to your head. We've got the perfect example of GG, haven't we? We know his power went to his head, and that shouldn't hold off.
Yeah, it's the weird and unusual, I would say, on TikTok. There's a lot of weird men and unusual, and if they're connected, if they're around HS or anyone like that, they're gonna get the clout, isn't they? They got the clout from that. And the younger people today, it's like if most people saw a man that looked like the G on the street, if most people saw him on the street, like most girls saw him, any girl saw him, they would probably run the other way. The fact that he's got some followers and he's been on social media, he's done some interviews on some podcasts, girls are chasing it, jumping on it, and literally sleeping with it as well.
Oh, no.
paying it, sleeping with it, jumping on it, everything to it, and literally young girls.
No, pretty girls as well. Pretty young girls. Oh God, it makes me poorly. Do you know, I can't. The thought of that's someone's daughter. and they're taking advantage. When we went to the Glamour Awards, there was a few of these big creators there, wasn't there?
Mm.
And I will say, I thought, right, they were going to act all sleazy, and because there was some very pretty women and there were some very beautiful, attractive. But I saw them sort of quite well behaved, and I was having a nosy wherever I looked. I like to
Yep.
see. They were quite well behaved, which I thought, good on you. I think it's the sleazy ones that we've got the problem with. I think the sleazier they are, and they think they've got this God-given right, the entitlement.
You talking about men or women here?
I think both, really. I think either can be quite toxic. I think once you've got that entitlement of I'm a creator or I'm an influencer, it make you quite toxic. I saw a video once of a woman, and she was in a restaurant, and they brought her the bill at the end, and she went, "What's that?" And he went, "It's your bill, ma'am." And she went, "Do you not know who I am?
Mm.
I will put this on my Instagram, and you will get. I'm not paying that." And she kicked off. And I'm thinking to myself, who the hell do you think you are that you will not pay a bill? If you are making that much money on Instagram, well, you should be paying. I'm sorry, lads, we can't pay your wages this week because user 6447, who's got 10 million followers on Instagram, ain't paid the bill. Who do you think you are? And I know it's that old saying, isn't it? The more famous and rich you are, the more you get free. And that's the unfortunate thing, isn't it? Because it creates these monsters. Yeah. And I think there's that entitlement. And like you say, they don't want to work. They don't want to do this because, I'm TikTok famous or I'm Insta famous. And think, who do you think you are?
Sorry, Kitty, as well. So much of it, we actually, as you already know, as I showed you very early in social media and TikTok and stuff, so much of it is BS. Like, some girls are falling for BS views, BS followers. They did a study the other day on Kick, another platform, and it literally showed that all these big creators like Neon, loads of them, all these massive creators, 70% of their audience is bots. It's literally bots. So, but the thing about it is how social media works is if I've got 10,000 people in here now, people will stay and watch. Where if I've got 10 or 5 or 6 people in, they leave. That's the way people are on social media. They are literally just looking at the views. That's the only thing they care about. So people are encouraged to literally buy bots, buy bot followers, buy bot live viewers. I can pay, I think it cost me about maybe £100 a week, and every live I did, I could probably get 500 to 600 live viewers in there at the same time.
Well, we talked about this, didn't we, the other day? Because I've lost so many accounts again, and I was like, I just need to build this up, and I need to. Shall we fake it till we make it? And I can't do that. I just can't do that. It just doesn't feel right to me. But I know that there are people who make it till they make it. And there was a big clear out on X once. I think it was about a year ago, and there was people losing thousands of followers because literally X kicked all the bots off.
Yeah.
And there were people that were like, "Oh, I've got 10,000 followers," or 100,000 followers. All of a sudden, down to like 2,000 followers and things like that. It was good.
Yeah, I think if you there's certainly a scheme that works. If you buy followers and you buy live viewers, and here's the key thing: you collaborate with other bigger creators because they see your live views. If you collaborate with bigger creators and do it, that is the blueprint to success. That is how they were talking about the other day. You do that, you get a collab with a bigger creator. They're doing it on Kick all the time, and his real fans see you. And then you collab, and that's how you grow on social media. That is the blueprint. That is for the really successful people, that is what they do.
But unfortunately, there are those that are taking advantage of that, and this is
no, of course they're taking advantage of it because they're stealing other people's real viewers.
Not in that way. So say a big creator reaches out to me and says, "Come on, we'll collaborate," and I go, "Yeah, let's keep it PG because I want it to go on TikTok." Blah blah blah. Yeah, but once the camera gets switched off. And that's what some of these guys.
Yeah, no. Some of the guys are taking it because the thing is though, it's supply and demand because there are literally women of all ages and younger. The younger ones are more hungrier, so they're more likely to do anything. Like some of the beautiful girls I've seen, like I've been with that General G, and I'm just like, oh, like, how could you do it? But they're doing it for the so-called clicks and local fame, and most of them never even got the fame. Like, most of them never even got it. Like, that's the reality of it as well.
They got
Like,
it.
because guess what? Bevo too. Yeah, that's well, he was doing. I'm not entirely sure on Bevo's trajectory in terms of how he started and everything, but I know he made news because he started making $5,000 a week or something like that, wasn't he? Because he
Do
done
you
really
know?
well.
You know, I got famous, nearly choking on a potato. That's how he got famous. He ate a roast potato whole, and it got stuck, and he was filming, and that is how he got famous.
Wow. So
I
all you
actually,
need is
I look at him and I think, how were you famous? And it was for nearly choking on
oh
roast.
god, yeah. If
And
you
then,
just look what Claire's just put there.
yeah,
Horrible.
we've had this conversation so many times. Is she a good role model? I will.
She's about herself, mate, and she's about herself. She doesn't give a damn about being a role model. She wants to make as much money. She's gone so cold. She's gone ice cold. Such a beautiful girl as well. Gone ice cold, and to sort of do that stuff to herself.
But you think about you and I have had this conversation before, right? When you have sex with somebody, it's chemical. I don't care what you say. If you've got
Energy.
energy coming through, and if she's got as many are going through her head must be a shed. I don't care who you are, but I will say this about her: her work ethic is amazing. I wish a lot more people had her work ethic, but put it into something else, not not what she
not not
does.
not 1,000 men, 100 men. Like, she done a video the other day, and she's like, she went to the Bali I think she went to the Bali embassy outside it the other day, and she had 10 men with balaclavas on, and she said, "You wait and see what I'm going to do now." Like, she's chasing it. She's chasing it. But this is the thing. She's got to a stage where everything needs to be more extreme, and I probably think that she's probably got 2 or 3 people that are coming up with these ideas, like, of crazy things to do. But it's a bit mental.
Have you read that comment from Claire? Just on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other.
I watched the interview. I watched the interview when she said that. To be honest with you, and a lot of what she said, that was with Liam Tuff, I think. A lot of the things she says, she's a master manipulator of social media. She knows that women are the women are the victims of this sort of like phenomenon that she's in, because obviously in some cases it's their husbands that she's going with, and Bonnie Blue openly says that, oh yeah, I love it, sleep with their husbands because they can't be asked to, and all the rest of it. And when women hear that are in relationships, there's nothing more triggering than hearing a woman say that, yeah, you women are lazy, you don't sleep with your husbands, and I have to do your job for you and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's clickbaiting. She's clickbaiting with that. She's going against women. She's everything that men moan about, basically, about women. And we know that you moan, by the way, because we moan about you. But everything they moan about, she's using it as clickbait. So we're not sleeping with them. We're not giving them the goods. Once we've had kids, we're a mess. We let ourselves go, and this, that, and the other. And then when we leave you, we have a big glow up. Why couldn't you do it for me? There's all those little gripes that they've got, and she's turned it into clickbait. So women absolutely despise her, which is really, really, really weird, because when you consider that Rebecca Goodwin is in the same sort of career, yet women love her. You think do you get what I mean? The balance. There's no Bonnie's sort of down here where Rebecca's up here with women, and it's really, really sort of. I like you say, she's gone very, very cold in her old age. I say old age. I don't even know how old she is. Where have you gone?
I'm back. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be back in 2 seconds. My VPN was killing me on TikTok, so I had to switch it. So bear with me 2 seconds, guys. I'll be back in. Let me just get my
I
thing
think
back.
you're right, Claire. It does. I mean, Rebecca has a likable personality, and she takes the mickey out of herself. She doesn't really take herself too serious, and I think that's the difference. Whereas Bonnie is literally, hi Donna. Bonnie literally is all about putting women down, and we're all useless as far as she's concerned. Whereas Rebecca is like, I'm one of the girls, and I'll take the mickey out of blokes as much as you do, because we
Oh,
all know on a brunch, we have those conversations. But that is the difference, and it's down to personality. Bonnie hasn't got one, and Rebecca has a personality. She's quite funny, I will say
no,
that. She's
I would say Bonnie's definitely got personality. I would say that um I would say that obviously it's just the extremes. Even Rebecca Goodwin has said that she's not doing 1,000 men and stuff like that. She's not letting a load of random men, like she's not part of that. There's extremes, and Bonnie's just more extreme. I reckon Bonnie, just seeing little parts of her interviews and stuff, I reckon she's deep down inside. I think she's a really nice person. I feel like her not being able to have children played a massive part, and I think it will come out later when she sort of calms down in life, and she looks back on it, like she even said that she would sacrifice it all if she could have had a baby and had a family, she would have, like, this wouldn't have even happened. There wouldn't have been no Bonnie Blue. So I think that's really sad.
But if you think about this, and if you're watching, Bonnie, because I know you do, right? All the money you've got, you're not telling me that you can't have some sort of IVF or a surrogacy or something like that. You can have that baby now. But what you've got to think about, and the consequence is this: that baby is going to grow up knowing that his mum's Bonnie Blue.
Yeah, I think now she's redundant to that now. I think it would take, I don't know. It would take Prince Charming, something like there'll have to be a spiritual awakening in her, or a traumatic event that makes her think.
No,
And you know, she's already said her biggest fear is someone doing the old acid thing on her. Like she gets death threats, she gets all kinds of threats all the time. Um, she's got to be careful, because all it takes is one crazy fan to get too excited, and literally it would take them 2 seconds to hurt her, because she's vulnerable. Yes, they signed the forms and everything, but just the other day she's surrounded by like 10 men with balaclavas on, so, and the security can only do so much.
if there's any holes in, right? I want to ask you something. Right. Why do you think you're entitled to those opinions? She's obviously getting death threats, and she's getting this, that, and we know it'll be trolls and stalker fans. Why do they think that they've got this right? I just want to get inside their heads. It's like, I get so many trolls, absolutely awful trolls, and I just but what makes you think if I think it, I can say it,
Yeah,
and it's my right? I just
yeah.
don't know.
Men and like, but unfortunately, I know women do it as well, but let me just pick on men as well, as I like to do. Men at the minute have lost their minds. They have lost their minds. The weakness that they have in terms of like what they're doing on social media right now. Like, if you go on social media, you're going to see women with their cleavage out, and there'll be 100 or 1,000 men even tuning in to watch that. Like, and they just pop in and out of live trying to get something from it, trying to, do all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. Like, it's immense weakness, and it's created a massive market for women to go online and manipulate them. Not all of them manipulate them, but just to sort of taking their money. They don't care about them. And unfortunately, as soon as the fans realize that penny drops and realize that they're never going to meet this woman, they're never going to get anything from this woman, all they're going to be doing is gifting this woman, they become nasty, like, really nasty. And they start with the death threats.
Don't get, oh, excuse me, I don't get gifted that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite honest.
Yep. How's everyone doing on this fabulous Friday? Has anyone got any plans? Is everyone ready for Christmas as well?
I am
It,
now.
Kitty's got her tree up. Has everyone got their tree up?
Amazon's just been. The last one's on Amazon. I've got to do all the wrapping now. Yeah, I think you have to be very, very honest.
What? Really?
What?
Up to birth? You mean
Up to birth?
Jesus? That's mental. That is mental. That don't make no sense. Like, and they're talking about, this is what they're talking about as well. They talk about birth rates up to 9 months. They're talking about birth rates in this country, like, they're not high enough. And they said, like, for a country to be below a certain minimum, like I think it's like 1.5 or something, like 1.1 or something like that. The society can't sustain itself. So this is why a lot of people, like the people that think ahead and look at numbers, and this is why they say that immigration is so important for certain country, for the Western world, because people, like, who would want to abort up to 9 months anyway? Like, that to me don't make no sense.
Why you would? I mean, to me, if you want to abort at 9 months, that's adoption.
Yeah, you may as well adopt. You may as well let that baby go out, or you may as well go. They're going to be going through a very intrusive sort of procedure anyway, so you may as well just have a cesarean slice, doop, take the baby out, put it in a incubator or whatever, and then give that to adoption. Like, give the baby for adoption.
Yeah, just to parents that can't have children
Yeah.
and will love that children
And
immensely.
look where we've ended up, Kitty. We ended up at a story over here, and when you think about someone losing a child, you think about someone's child being taken and lost, you think the worst. You naturally think the worst. I feel like with this story that we're going to talk about, it's kind of, you would hope in this case, if it was you, your child's been taken, you would hope that it's someone like this almost that's done it, rather than someone that's chopped them up or all the rest of it. Like, let's watch this video really quickly.
A girl who was abducted aged 3 has been found 42 years later with no idea she'd ever been taken. And this is her alleged kidnapper, her mother. Michelle Newton was allegedly abducted by Deborah Newton from Kentucky in 1983. Her mum claimed she was moving to Georgia early, but when Michelle's father arrived, they'd vanished. For decades, Deborah was on the FBI's most wanted list for parental kidnapping, living under the fake name Sharon Neely in a Florida retirement community.
They're coming for you, Sharon!
Police received a tip-off about her location, and after comparing a recent photo to one from 1983 and confirming the resemblance, officers went to Deborah's home. She's been charged with custodial interference and released on bond. Michelle has been reunited with her father, who never stopped searching.
Wow. Absolutely wow. One of the worst things that could possibly ever happen, your child being taken.
That's obviously her birth mother that's taken her. And that's what it is. This is what we're on about. But what gives that birth mother the right to take that child away from the father? So that's why she's gone missing. She's gone missing. The courts have said you've got dual custody, and then she's gone missing. And obviously, this child was very young. She was 3. She cannot remember the fact that she had a father. And then 46 years later, or 43 years later.
Wow. Oh, I misread the story. I thought it was like a total stranger that kidnapped her. And so...
No, it's mum. And we've been talking about this quite a lot this week, about parents that take the children away from the other parent in one way or another. There are those that do it out of bitterness.
And I have known girls to lie about, obviously all you have to do is say, oh, the guy's violent, and you're the judge and everyone's going to be on your side. But I know someone that was going to lose their child. It was going to go into foster care, or it was going to go to the dad, and someone told her if she moves areas, impossible for them to sort of track them down or whatever. They have to go to a new cat. Like, it's impossible. You can literally just do that move and set up shop somewhere else, and the dad's screwed basically if he doesn't know where you are.
So you think about America, how big America is. It must be quite easy to go and get lost in America, if you know what I mean, because states, and especially in America, because they've got those state lines, haven't they? And you don't cross state lines. So this woman's obviously disappeared, 43. What gives that woman the right to take that child away from her father, unless there's something we don't know? And this is, I try and weigh it up in my head.
Yep.
What reason, unless you're a really, really nasty person, would you take a child away from one of the parents?
It could literally be a man, like, it could be a man. It could have been loads of things, but at least she was with her mum at the very least. Sucks on the dad, obviously.
You a lot, right? In the Muslim faith, where they have children and then they take the children away and take them back to Asia, India, wherever they're from, and that they're never seen again. I mean, there's some quite sort of big cases where they've done
no, the amount of children that go missing, honestly, it is insane. insane. I don't know if you guys ever want to ever go and have a look and just have a look how many children go missing in all the countries, like, you know, and America is actually the worst with like 400,000 kids or something going missing every year. Insane, absolutely insane.
How do you lose that many children? How? Tell me how.
It doesn't make any sense. And talking about children, you know, this is a very disturbing video that I saw recently, and where is it?
Yeah, that we just actually just.
From this is it. I'll mute it anyway. But this is a child marriage. That girl can't be more than 6 years old, and I don't think this should be happening in this day and age. And if anyone that tries to defend this kind of stuff, you know, you get people, rightly so, that say, look, you know, if you've got people that believe it's okay to marry children, then we don't want you in this country. That's a fair
Yeah,
statement for me. That's a
this
fair statement for me.
this is where I will have an argument about faith,
Mm.
right? A lot of that is down to faith. They believe that that's part of their faith and part of their belief, and so on. This is where I'm very happy for you to believe whatever you like, read whatever religious book you want. But when it comes to things like this, I tell you the other thing as well, female
Mutilation. Yeah.
mutilation. Another thing I won't stand for. People, I don't care what religious book you read, it's not right. I don't care. There isn't a God anywhere that would think that that's okay. A 6-year-old girl, and this is why a lot of these children are going missing, because they are literally, like we've just said, by their fathers taken back to the country and married off to somebody.
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. I think, yeah, I mean, it just don't look right. You know, so many children die in childbirth from this as well. Like, you know, for me, it's just not right. I don't know, man. And you get people that are, like, you know, you get people on the far right that will use this as well. They'll be like, look, you're bringing these people over, and this is what they believe in their countries. You know,
This is why a lot of the far right will use this about the children that are getting hurt. This is why they're getting hurt, because in their country it's allowed. Here it's not allowed. And I can see their argument there, because we don't want it here. I will say this about the British government. I will give them a clap, because at one point, if they got married over in another country to a child, and that's what they are, I'm not going to call them anything else, and then brought them back to the UK at one point would
recognize that, yeah.
recognize the marriage. Now, if that child's not 18, if that person's not 18, we're not recognizing the marriage, and we'll arrest you. We will, and you will be, punished, because we're not accepting it. We don't accept child brides.
No. And honest to God, like, you know, this is England. The English people should have the right to say what we want and what we don't want in this country, like, you know, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Every other country has its rules. You know, every other country has its rules, so you can't. A lot of English people feel, especially white English people, feel that they can't say that because obviously it sounds like they're being racist. But no, I mean, this is the country. We have rules. We have a certain core set of values, I would say. We've got some wrong ones. We've got enough wrong ones here. Trust me, we know that. Like, you know, but there's certain things on the out, like, you know, we can mostly all agree on, like, you know, we don't want to see certain things, and that's definitely something that we don't want to see. And people that want to exercise it, not here.
What's your opinion on us going to their country and trying to stop it, though? Because I would love to go to their country and go, right, this is the new rules. You ain't doing that. But then we're doing that thing again, aren't we? Where we're going to other countries and telling them what they can and can't do. I mean, it's easy to say, I just don't want it in this country. But then the thought of those young little babies being, and
see,
years old.
See, it's definitely not an Islamophobia channel. It's, you know, we're talking about, you know, if you listen to what we're saying, that we're speaking about what, you know, British values and what the British people in this country want and what they don't want, you know. And we were referring to a video as a child marriage video, and we were saying that, you know, England's not about that. We don't want that here. Like, you know, we don't want people here that want this kind of thing. Like, you know, we don't want it here. Like, you know, unfortunately, that's just what it is. Like, you know, and
Not
there's
about
no there's no Islamophobia about it. It's just people just don't want that, and that's just it. I can't be much blunt. Like, you know,
that.
and I
Not
can't believe that there's men in this day. I can't believe that there's men in this country that are happy would be happy with a 6-year-old being married and doing this child marriage business. I can't believe that. I understand in some faiths that, you know, they well not yeah it's culture. It's a cult. I think it's more of a culture thing as well, where people get arranged marriages at very young ages. Like, you know, so it's like you'll marry this person, you'll marry them at 6, but you'll officially be married at 18, sort of thing. That kind of thing. Um,
throughout
yeah,
history, that's always been the case. Throughout history, you go back into even in the UK's history, and you look at kings and queens. A lot of them were married at 12, 13. But when you read about them, that, you know, it wasn't consummated until they were like 16, 17.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's better, but back then it was happening. I
In
don't.
this country, it was happening. You were married. People were marrying kings and stuff. Would marry 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 6 like this. It was
think
happening in this country.
9, she was 9, but he said that he wouldn't consummate it until she was older, and I think she ended up having, I think it's, now, right, I might be wrong here, and if anybody's a historian, Elizabeth Woodville, who was Henry the Eighth's mother or grandmother. It might have been her. She was married at a really early age, but they didn't consummate it until it was sort of older. I don't think it was, you know, still a legal age now, but it was that sort of thing. And but I don't care what anybody says. I don't think even you can hide this behind religion. There isn't a religion that I believe would in today's society think that it's okay for a 6-year-old child to marry, and they always look about 50, 60 years old, and really horrible 50, 60-year-olds. And I don't think you can hide that behind religion, and I don't want it in this country. I never want to see this. I never want to see somebody say, this is my wife, and they are 6 years old. I think I'd probably be arrested for what I
Mm,
do.
well, mm.
But I don't think
And
it's fair. And this,
your question was, though, should we be going into countries to into your question was, should we be going to countries to stop this? Um, that's a really tough one. Morally, it's a very simple one, but there's also morally it shouldn't be happening, because, you know, what you will get 1,000%, this is probably happening already. You will get pervy people from this country and Western worlds going over to these countries to marry children. That's what you will get, and it's probably happening. It's happening in Thailand right now. It's happening in Thailand. You have young boys as young as 9 years old being given tablets to make them more feminine, so they turn into ladyboys by the time they're 13, or the rest of it, just so they can boost up their tourism. Like, you know, Thailand is based on European men going out there and sleeping with young boys. But that's basically what it is. And then basically they turn into girls. You know, they've been feminized to the point where they're, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that as well. And you know, the there's a stat. There's a stat the other day. I'm not going to name the country, but there's a stat the other day of the country that consumes the most gay porn,
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
and it is I'll say it's an Islamic country. That's what
Yeah,
I'll say.
it doesn't surprise me. It just doesn't surprise me. I just don't think morally I want it to even know it's happening. But have we got the right to go into that country and say, you need to stop? This is
Unfortunately, there's if you look at the reasons why this child marriage is actually even a thing, you know, it's very deep, and it can get you in a lot of trouble if you talk about it. So the risk versus rewards ain't very good on it. So but you're
this,
best leaving it.
I feel the same about female genitalia mutation. Anyway, I feel the same about that. I would love to go in and go, right, stop, you know, because, you know, it's not fair.
Yeah.
But then, like you say, it's other people's country, and we've just spent the last 2 weeks saying we've got to stop going into other people's countries and getting involved in their shit. Haven't we? We've just done sort of 10 shows saying that completely, and yet there are things like this that I would love to go in and go.
Yeah. Well, in Sudan, sorry, a 3-year-old boy got hanged due to this crisis, due to, I don't know what's going on out there. It's obviously some sort of coup, trying to destabilize the country, and you've got people popping up and killing people that look just like them. Like, a 3-year-old boy got hanged. I mean, when you hear about stuff like that, you think to yourself, good God, do we have a right to even, just to, I mean, do we have the power to sort of stop it? Yes, for sure we do. But is it worth putting boots on the ground to stop what's going on out there without any sort of, unfortunately it's quid pro quo in terms of the government, unless you've got something that they want, or you're useful in some sort of way, they're not really going to be interested, but I can't think of any other country where you'd be hearing about Christians in Nigeria being slaughtered, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on.
I think one of the stories that always sticks in my mind, and it was quite a long time ago, was a woman that was pregnant and she was going to be stoned to death because she was having a baby after an affair. And they made her go through with the pregnancy, and then she was going to be stoned to death. And I just think, how can you do that? How? But because she'd had a baby with this man that she'd had an affair with, or better off, this is our law, this is what we're going to do, but you're going to have that baby first because the baby's not at fault. But then
do we because obviously there are certain rules under Sharia law, and we might have to do at least one day talking about it. Don't get me wrong, now I'm pretty sure there's some stuff on there that sounds very appeasing to most people about the punishment for certain people that commit certain crimes and stuff. But about the adultery, and about there's loads of stuff about having to prove, apparently, I'm not going to say apparently because I'll give the facts in it and stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting one, let's just say.
The state just outside, and I think it's Austin, Texas, they're about to build a whole area that is Muslim, right? They've got the money.
I've seen the little town thing. Yes, I've seen you. I think you said it to me. I'm not, but I looked at the comments. The comments were more or less, Trump will never let this happen. Trump will never let this happen, and it was kind of like pushed. It was, most people were saying it was propaganda, sort of anti, sort of one of those sort of red.
Because this was my argument the other day, and I've had people message me about it. I'll never understand people that go to another country to live and then try and change it to their ways. So if you really, if you're Jewish and you go to another country and you decide that country needs to, abide by the Jewish faith, and you just think, so if you don't like where you're going to live, why would you go and live there? I can't get my head around that. So, like I say, I go back to the speaker's corner thing. Why would you come over to this country, live on our benefits, and then stand on a corner and literally slag us off? I can't work it out. Why would you do that? If I didn't like something, I don't like the weather here, right? I hate the weather here sometimes. And I could there's been quite a few times I've thought to myself, do you know what? I might go. But I like Britain. I like England. But sometimes I could quite happily leave. Now, you and I have talked about this. What do they call it?
JJ's got a comment there. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people say that, and Australians as well, they are famous for, I've seen so many videos. If you don't like your hair, you can get out, and literally what they've done is they've gone there and they've literally stolen a country, basically.
If you really want to go to history, it was us that did it.
Yeah, it was us. Yeah, it was us. Yeah, for sure.
We went over there to Australia and America, and we just went.
We sent our criminals. Shout out to Marie in the house. How are you going to go?
We sent the criminals over to Australia. I don't know about America. I think we sent some if you read the history, it was quite, the Mayflower and all that. But we just decided it was the English again. We thought we'd go over, we'd just take it all.
I know that's part that JJ. I know that's what I know about Sharia law. You have to, part of Sharia law is I understand that you have to obey the law of the land as well. Or is that not Sharia law? Or is that just sort of like part of the Muslim faith sort of thing? Like, where if you go to a country, you have to obey the law of the land. Like, I've heard that before actually in on debates.
So if they come under Sharia law, if they come over here, they have to abide by our law. Is that
right? It's part of it's part of Sharia law as well, yeah. So you have to obey the law of the land and stuff, yeah.
Well, you see, I like that. Yeah. But nobody's knocking it.
Yeah, I will. Okay, Kaiser. That's good. That's good. I will get one of my Muslim friends to come on, and he can sort of break it down. Because if you believe the far right, we'll all be living under Sharia law in 20 years' time. It might be an idea to get a head start on it. Do you know what? I was thinking the other day, if a lot of people thought about it, wait a minute, 4 wives? You're saying I can have 4 wives? That's enough. Since I remember as a kid. Thanks, Omar. I remember as a kid when I heard about 4 wives. So that's something that stuck in my head. 4 wives.
Yeah, but do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing to be able to have 4 wives? 4 wives nagging you?
Well, no. 4 wives, like we spoke about this yesterday as well. 4 wives of let's just say a less Western sort of background, like a Western sort of thought process, like submissive. 4 submissive wives, not 4 combative.
Yeah,
not 4 combative. Submissive, yes, sir.
Like what? Yeah.
I think. What do you think if you asked John down the pub and you said to him, look, you could have 4 submissive wives, and they have to cover themselves up. They can't go out showing their bodies off and all the rest of it. They have to cover up. Everything is just for the man to see. I think if you spoke to most men, like on a certain level, they would probably like the sound of having 4 wives and having them cover up and not having them going out and acting Western.
Yeah, but then they'd have that mistress that they take out and all their mates see, and look at her. She's
Kalim. It doesn't matter. Listen to your husband. Like there's trust me. There's certain men that look at the way some Muslim men have their sort of house in order, and they say, ooh, this I could do with some of that.
Yeah,
I can't lie.
I could never be one of those women. I told you about that.
No, I know. I think most Western women, although a lot of women are actually turning to, because of the belief and the praying and all that sort of stuff. Like just like I spoke about, just yesterday. Like if you pray, it doesn't matter what you pray to. Like obviously it matters if you're praying to the devil or something like that. But if you're praying and you're obeying some sort of religion, some sort of faith, like that makes you a 10 times better person. Trust me. And it will get you through things that you're going through in your life. It will get you through things. The people, I've done so many stories and I've interviewed people and they've had the worst things happen to them. And I've always asked them, how are you still here? Like how, and the one thing they say to me, they say spirituality, but it is a little bit of a faith that they have, but they haven't really exercised or sort of embraced enough.
No, I mean, I've had this conversation before. I always say that I'm a Christian, and people go, well, you don't go to church. Well, firstly, I don't have time to go to church, but I say, and I sit and I talk to God, and I hold and I read my Bible, and people are like, "What, you're a Christian?" In fact, I've had arguments about it, haven't I, with you, with certain people on here. But it's nice to have something, and that's why I never ever, when people say to me, "Oh, I'm a Muslim or this," I am really, really sort of good. You've got something that will keep you sort of grounded and keeps you and
providing. So we've got if you have 4 wives, you have to keep the house in order, and you must be able to treat them all equal. And providing for 4 wives isn't easy. No, for sure, it's not. But for men of means, you've got men. Let's just face it. You've got men that are making a hell of a lot of money in this country, and they've got a miserable nagging wife that they have to deal with, like, you know. Whereas they could pay for 4 submissive, beautiful women to procreate with that aren't gonna chase their, you know what I mean. There's certainly perks in there for men if they're looking at it. So, like, you know, rather, look, you got one miserable old bat that freaking argues, don't want to clean up, wants to go out all the time, doing all her cleavage post pictures on the bloody internet all the time, or you can have 4 lovely, submissive, traditional women. Good God. Trust me, I think if people start deep in certain things, because you know what's quite sad is well, not sad, like, what if what do most men want deep down inside, what do most men want if you actually deep it and you ask them what they really want? Unfortunately, women, it's a massive part of what men want. They want power, they want respect from their peers, like they want family, like, you know, little bit of money and stuff like that. They want all these things, but women is a massive part of what men want. And you got 4? God damn.
Yeah, but those men that want that usually want the best looking woman as well on their own.
Well, they can. You can, you know, and some, like, you know, some arranged marriages, like, you know, you have sometimes you have to pay a dowry to the dad. Like, you know, I know this from my friends that are Muslims, you know, you have to pay a dowry to the dads, and, you know, you can have your pick. You can have like 5 or 6 beautiful, like, well, I don't know how exact number, but, you know, but yeah, there's certainly some pros and cons. Anyway, let's move away from this. Anyway, we went way too deep into that one. Another video, and this is about women. Western women, actually. This is about Western women acting up, actually. Western women. This is why you don't want to. And getting equal justice, let's just say.
Beat his ass! Let's go!
Now, that is a very entitled woman that thought she would be able to just walk up to a man, slap him in the face, and he, rightly so, responds in kind. And, you know, I don't ever want to be in a position to say where you want to hit a woman or a woman deserve to be hit or anything. But there's sometimes, like, you know, you can't just slap men in the face, like, you know, and if you do it, there's, like, you know, especially in a relationship, there's more likely it's going to happen over and over and over again until it gets checked, like, you know.
Show that other one as well, that one in the fitness thing, because that's even worse.
Okay. Planet Fitness. This is a lady that was arguing with one of the customers.
Visit the gym. That's what we'll see here. The police, they were told that before this happened.
So she jumps over the counter. The man stands his ground. He takes his eye off her, which is a very stupid thing. He gets a plaps. Boom, bish, bash, bosh, boom, bang, bang. He's covering up. He's doing a good job of covering up there. He's getting whooped. This is going to be AJ and Jake Paul on Saturday. Or tonight, actually. Tonight.
She didn't go for the women. She didn't go. There was women all there. There was women that worked there. And she just didn't go for the women. She went for the man. And that to me screams that she knew he wasn't going to fight back. You know, like, I'm not just assume that men won't fight back because, you know.
There are men out there. There are men out there of those beliefs. Like, you know, there's still old school men out there. Even if a woman is trying to kill them, they won't hit them back. And you've seen it. Some men have literally been freaking really hurt from that. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that to me is a bully, because she thought, I'll go for the man because the man won't hit me back. And if he does, he'll look like the bad person. When somebody comes, I don't care what sex you are, if you come throwing your hands in my face like that, believe me, the only way you're getting me off you is it with, you know, being pulled apart, because you come at me, I don't care what sex you are. And if I was if I was to do that to a man, and I have done things like that in the 90s, God bless them, and there was no cameras, thank Lord, I would expect to get that back.
Yeah.
But then I'm a real woman that's grown up with men, so I know that there are those men that will sort of backhand you.
Yeah. I've seen I know we moved away from sort of like the sort of Muslim topic and the Islam topic, but I saw some videos that sort of made me like go, what? Like, you know, it's quite interesting. Let's have a look at the first one.
Ahmed, He saved my life and
this one's not
my
surprising.
4-year-old's life. If Ahmed Al-Ahmed didn't stop that guy, he was coming to do
Bondi Beach, isn't it?
absolute horror, further horror to what happened. And I can only say thank you to that Muslim brother that came and took it upon himself and risked his own life to save us from further. Ahmed.
He can't even speak. Can you imagine? Can you, like, we've seen the video, we've seen Ahmed come jump in, become the hero, and take the gun off the guy, but we can't really sort of all I can say is, imagine you're on the beach with your 4-year-old daughter, and some man is about to start shooting you and your 4-year-old daughter, and then some miracle man comes out between a car and saves you. Unreal, man. Unreal.
Literally puts his life on the line for you and your children. How can you say thank you? How do you say thank you for that? How? You can't. There's no way. Yeah, I go back to that attack on the train. We know that there was a Muslim guy that tried to stop the train driver and so on.
The ticket inspector, I think he was.
Inspector. We know that there was this guy. How do you say thank you? Now, one of the guys that stopped it was a Forest fan, right? And he is now allowed to fly with the Forest team whenever we go to Europe. He gets on the coach now. He's part of the team. Mr. Evangelos Marinakis has literally made him part of the team. If he wants to go to our games, we get him there. That's how we're saying thank you. I mean, I'm not saying you can say this, but how do you say thank you to these people that have literally put their lives on the line? I go back to that couple that first saw the couple of shooters get out the car with the guns, and they ran straight to these two people to try and stop them. They were the first two victims. They were shot down there and then, but they went to attack, to take this this person out, these people out. I would like to think that I would do that. I just don't know what I would do in that situation. You don't. I don't know.
And a video came out of Donald Trump partying with the ladies, as he's known to be doing. Let's have a little look and see this video. Dancing away, chilling, grabbing a woman. There you go, grabs her by the pee. And a lot of people at the minute, and this kind of goes back to our original discussion, will let men act in a certain way if that man is of a certain status, or he has a sort of status. What is it about? What does it say about some of these people that they're willing to sort of throw away everything, their dignity, their control? Don't get me wrong. When it comes to doing it for a husband or a boyfriend or a long-term thing, I can understand it. But it seems to me that you see it with the Cassie situation. Would she have put up with any of that stuff if my man weren't rich and didn't have status? She would have been long time. Not always the case, actually. It's not always the case, because there are women in domestic violence relationships.
She was going to be given a future. She was also told that she was going to get a record. She actually signed a 10-album deal. Nobody has ever signed a 10-album deal with a record company before, but he made her sign a 10 album. So she was, in her mind, was making a future. He groomed her with that. And that was a form of grooming. I don't care what anyone says. It was coercion and grooming. Although if you listen to Jura 70, apparently it was a love story. Anyway, it's becoming transactional, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It becomes transactional. But what is happening now is once these transactions have run their course, people are going back and saying, you treated me like crap, you treated me like this, you treated me like that. And yes, the guy should not have treated them like that. Guys should not treat women badly and stuff like that. But these women have a duty and a responsibility to be responsible for what they allow to happen to themselves. Because if you allow a guy to slap you in the face, you allow a guy to treat you a certain type of way, and you stay there for financial reward or more security, guess what? It gets worse, worse, worse. Let alone he's not punching you now. He's beating you with the belt. Now he's beating you with the sticks. Now he's battering you in the street. Like
He's on tape, he's doing-
you're seeing all these poor women like getting battered. I hate to see when women are getting battered by men. We showed a video the other day of that guy beating up his girlfriend. Like, mental, absolutely mental.
Listen, I can't say too much because I've been there and I've done that. I have lived in that transactional life, and I took a lot of abuse. For me, it was about status. It was about showing face. I didn't want to have to go back to my parents and say, look, this is happening. Not that they wouldn't have believed me, and not that they wouldn't have done anything. I think it was the embarrassment of, look, I've said this would never happen to me because of what happened in my past, and here I am living it again. And I think that's a lot of, there's that embarrassment with women. I've now got to go and say that I was, I transactionally let this man beat me up or let him do what he did. And I think that's a big part of it. I can't speak for Cassie, but, I think a lot of the times, people are saying to you, get away. But when they're as big as people like P. Diddy,
Yeah,
it's very...
that's different. That's way different. Yeah, for sure.
But if I said who mine was, people knew him, and they knew what a lovely guy he was and what a fantastic... I had people fall out with me. What do you mean?
They're all fantastic guys, aren't they? It's
Yeah,
always the sort of nice guys and stuff that are end up being monsters, isn't it?
and that is a lot of it, isn't it? On the outside, to the outside world, these guys are stand-up guys and they're lovely men, and they've never ever raised a hand, and they'd be the first to sort of jump in and save a woman. But at home, they are monsters. So you don't want to not be believed, and then they've played with your mind so much that you believe that people won't believe you. Who's going to believe you? Who's going to believe that I did this to you? Have you seen the size of you to me? And things like that. So you're like, nobody's going to believe me.
What's the answer then? What's the answer then, Key? Because ultimately, this keeps happening. Like, generation after generation, women are getting themselves in this situation where they end up staying with some really abusive guy. You're seeing things where, all kinds of like some of the stories that I've had just this week of what some of these women have sort of come up against. Like, why
Also,
aren't we straight out the door?
I think men can struggle too, and I think it's worse for men. Can I just say that? Because they really don't get believed if a little woman is punching them and things like that. They really are all mentally abusing them.
Would you say women are violent, more violent than men?
Oh, they can be. I don't think it's a sex thing. I think you're just a bad person. You can be a man or a woman, but you can be a bad person. I know women that can even rape when they speak.
We have to address this comment here. Maybe you should stop the victim blaming and actually hold men accountable. I do. I start every video talking about how wrong men are, how messed up they are, how they've allowed this social media sort of women sort of chasing to go crazy to their head. What I can't do is stop a monster from being a monster. What I can do is say, once you identify a monster, you cross the road. Like, you can't just, like, because you see some people, I'm watching them, and even still now, after all the sort of the destruction of their life, things that have happened to them, things that have happened to their, like, children, all the destruction, they're still being blasé about it. Oh yeah, I can find, I like bad boys and all the rest of it, like this, where does this come from? Like, what comes with the bad boys most of the time. These sort of, like, these Jack the Lad kind of fellas, like, everyone knows, but the moment you get hit, red flags, like, what we're trying to do, mostly is say, once you see a red flag, is to run. That's the only, what else can I say? We can't stop the monsters from being mobsters, can we?
So that to me is, we've got to teach this in school. We've got to say this.
And they are doing it. They are doing it.
Are they? Problem is, they have kids, and these monsters, they have to pay bills alone. This is
it's difficult. It's not easy, is it?
Yeah, how if you've got, let's say, 3 children and you're being knocked about or mentally abused, you feel like nobody's going to believe you, and then you've got to take 3 kids and go into a refuge. And by the way, what you've normally done is you've kept it away from the kids. So why are you making me leave Daddy? Why? Why are you making me leave Daddy? I love Daddy. Daddy, what? I want to go back today. I used to do it with my mum. I used to sit there and go, I want to go home to Dad. Oh, where's my dad? I want my dad. And how do you say to your children, no, he's a bad person?
Yeah.
We can't.
Yeah.
And then if you do and you go back, you're teaching your children that if he's a bad person, it's okay to go back. So we're teaching our children, this is something we've got to start teaching at school. First sign of a red flag, go. You're not going to save them. Stop thinking, oh, he's not like that with me. I can save him. He wouldn't do that to me.
That's it.
Stop.
And some people say they hide the violence, they hide there's no red flags. It's only when the kids come that they become this person. I'm pretty sure that is the case. Yeah.
Do you know what that is? That's because you're having to give your time to your children because they're children.
They do say that, don't they? Some men go a bit crazy when they don't get the same sort of
Attention.
love, attention. They do act like that. I had no red flags. No, and it happens like that. Sometimes it does happen.
No. We're not saying everybody comes with a red flag. We're not saying that. What we're saying is we need to start teaching children that if you do see any sort of red flags, and we are talking more
not just children. I would say to women now in this day and age. That's why they said that they've set up, like they've made Claire's Law more accessible, and they're putting things that I think they were saying the other day on this morning that they're putting things in place so women can find out if someone's got a record. Other things in place, which will be put in place hopefully next year. I think there's going to be a bill put through. But what I'm saying is, if you know if you've seen the red flags, if you know someone's got red flags, if someone's told you this guy is a bad person, I know that's often not the best source, but still, it's but you know what, maybe I'll pass. I won't judge you, but maybe I'll pass on it. Some women knowingly go with guys that they know are no good.
Or at least have your guard up, right? It's one thing, because we do know that there are all these women that will go, oh, he's a bastard and he did this, and we know it's a lie, right? We know that. Yeah. Have your guard up and be prepared. Those people that are around him, and I said this the other day, please don't isolate these women or men that are in this situation. Do not isolate them. Do not say, do you know what? I'm sick of hearing about it. Just because they need, that's what they want. They want them isolated, so they've got nowhere else to go. They've got nowhere to run. Always
self-esteem. I think a lot of it is self-esteem with some women. Yeah, for sure. There are men that do a proper psychological job on women. Like, it's so practical. Like, it's textbook. They first of all, what do? They stop them from going to see their family. They stop them from going to see their friends. They start telling them that they shouldn't dress a certain way. They start telling them that they're ugly or overweight or anything like that. And then the women feel like they've got nowhere to go. I understand. I feel immense sympathy for women that just wanted to find love with someone and settle down and have a family, and that guy turned out to be a monster. I feel immense sympathy for women that go through that. It's not an easy situation. There's no right or wrong way. But what I'm saying is, I would say for the younger girls growing up, if you see something from someone, he starts telling you how to dress, what to do, blah blah blah, run. Then don't have kids with them.
Yeah.
Don't have kids with them. Run away if you see it. If you don't see it, there's nothing you can do. But have just that's all I can say really. It's hard.
It is. Some of it creeps up.
Some
of it creeps up on you, like you say. Before you know it, you're sitting there and he's going, "Who's going to believe you? You're pathetic." Yeah. And they do a number on you. Horrible. People throw around this word narcissist. If you've ever met a real narcissist, said this to you the other day, you'll know that they're evil. They're not just narcissists. They're evil.
Every Scott has your story. If you would like to send me a DM message and you'd like to come on and have a chat and tell your story, be more than happy to take your story. That's literally what we do on here. We do live story interviews as well. So just send me a message as well, and I would happily like to sit and listen to your story. Me and the lovely Kitty.
There's no judgment. Myself, sweetheart. There's no judgment whatsoever.
Yeah, and trust me, we definitely don't blame we definitely not blaming the victims. Like, 100%. That is not what it's about. I'm still in high. Yeah,
No.
it's so sad. Honestly, it's really sad. Like, she's saying obviously she's 15 years in hiding, and I was speaking to her, just speaking to her. This week. Literally, I've just had all the worst kind of stories like this, referring to like a really aggressive partner, and the woman's, and there's no protection. Like one of the girls was saying to me the other day, there's no protection. You report it, the person gets 2 years. You go through a strenuous court case. If you're lucky, they get 2 years, and then they're out. And it's like there's no protection. Like, what do you
And then
do? You live in fear your whole life.
then they go for custody of the children, and the courts will sometimes give them custody, half the custody, and you're like, this man is abusive. What are you doing? I mean, we've had people that have, we've heard stories of people that have been raped, and then they've had to let the children be seen by the piss because
Yeah.
that was child, and you're like, are you real? The court system really needs a big shake up. It really
Yeah.
does need a
I
big
think
shake.
ultimately it comes back to men at the start, and men need to get themselves together. Like, just look at yourselves in the mirror. Gee, is this who you want to be? Like, this ain't this. What's happening now, and it's happening way too much. And what's scarier, it's happening in younger men. Younger men are getting this way, and I feel like a lot with the younger ones and the stories that I've seen, they they have this beautiful young girl with them when they're in there, like they have a beautiful young girl with them, and then the girl wants to go out partying or something like that, and they want to stop that straight away. The video we saw the other day, that guy was obviously beating his girlfriend up because he was calling her a S. That's a slang word for a woman that sleeps around or something. Because I think it's an American person I'm speaking with. So it's something that we men just need to get a grip of it, man. Need to get some discipline, some control.
We also need more things where we can help these women get out, because there's no real help out there. They're put into refuges or hotels, and they're usually found. I mean, I know where all the refuges are in Nottingham. Not telling me that there are people that don't know where all these refuges are.
Yeah.
And can't
Yeah.
get to them. And that's the worst thing. As soon as the man gets to you, that's it. I'm sorry, babe. You know I love you. You know I'm sorry.
It's textbook, isn't it? It's textbook. It's literally textbook.
Word
Don't
for
leave
word.
me. Please don't leave me. I will never do it again. I'll go get help. I'll get counselling. I'll do all this. And
Save me. You save me every time. I don't understand. But sometimes, darling, you push me. You push me to do it. And
yeah.
and all of a sudden you're sitting there going, well, maybe I do. Maybe I do push him. Oh God, yeah, I can be a bit of a mouthy cow. And it's textbook. But so we need to start teaching our children to spot it more. But we also need more resources.
Jesus. See, you in America, they have it a lot. They have it a lot worse. Like, in this country, I take. Are you in the UK now? Because I take it, in the UK, we don't throw women out of refuges. Like, America, look, they put her in a refuge for 3 weeks, then she ended up in her car. Okay, well done to you. Well done to you. You got to this is what we try to explain to people that are saying they want it to be more like America and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you ain't got money, you don't want to be like America. Trust me. Like, here you've got what do you make of England as a whole since you've been there and how long you've been there and stuff? But we will definitely we will definitely have a chat, because I feel like you'll have a lot to say, a lot of interesting stories. Kitty, yep.
It'd be nice to, like you say, to have that comparison of the UK and America, and to be able to say to people, this is what you don't want, because we people keep saying we want it more, we want Donald Trump. All right.
Yeah. That's an interesting one.
We'll say bye.
Indeed. Everyone, thank you very much for joining our show today. Everyone that contributed, that liked, you guys were amazing. Every Scot has its story. Lovely speaking with you. Make sure you send me a message and we will get an interview booked. Kitty, thank you very much for joining us today. Peace and love to everyone. Kitty, anything you want to say?
Have a happy weekend, and just think, this time next week it'll all be done. We'll all be done.
Christmas will be done next week. Happy days. Peace and love to you guys on TikTok and YouTube. We'll